Hello, our fellow viewers and lovers of Oku and beyond. You're welcome to another episode of Valorizing Our Cultural heritage potentials of Oku. We focused on the tangible cultural heritage potentials with our specialist, Mr. Mbuntum Daniel, Chief of Bureau for Cinematography and Audiovisuals at the Delegation of Arts and Culture, MESAM, in the Northwest Cameroon. He's a filmmaker, a scriptwriter, an actor, and storyteller. I think we already seen him in different forms. And he's also a researcher in the cultural domain. So I'm just trying to establish to us that he has the authority and the knowledge to talk to us about valorizing our culture or valorizing the cultural heritage potentials of Oku. Today we are going to be dwelling on the intangible cultural heritage potentials. And as we do that, I'm going to bring him on stage so that he can answer a few questions and educate us on what we need to know and what we need to do to valorize our culture. Let's welcome on stage Mr. Mbuntum Daniel. Welcome, Wankumi.
Welcome once more, Ruth, and welcome to everybody that is watching from wherever all over the world. Yeah, I am Wankumi, and as you already know, and today we'll be talking about the intangible cultural potentials of the Oku people, as I promised to do last time that we were together. So that is, I hope everybody is sitting back to get what we have today.
Yeah. Thank you for making yourself available to the population of Oku and to the population beyond Oku to educate us on the things that are important to us, things that will help us be better. And like it's one of our passwords, we want to rebrand Oku, and we are going to benefit from your knowledge to do that. So welcome once more, and thank you for making yourself available. So we are going to dive right into the question: what is intangible cultural heritage?
Intangible cultural heritage potentials refer to the various practices, representations, expressions, knowledge, and skills of a people. In fact, to get it even better, if we have to bring it down, it is the folklore, the songs, the music, the drama, the skills, the cuisine, the crafts, and the festivals of a people. You will understand that these forms of art or these forms of cultural heritage are those that can be recorded, they can be passed on in several other forms, but cannot be touched, cannot be felt, cannot actually be stored in forms like museums where you can actually go and touch them with your hand. They can only be transmitted through other forms of expression. That is what intangible cultural heritage potential would mean actually.
So thank you. So how is this important to a culture of a people? How is it important to the culture of a people?
Okay. If we have to narrow this definition down to the Oku people, we say that Oku people are blessed with a bank of intangible cultural heritage. In Oku, we have folklore, we have our cuisine, we have our craft, we have our history, we have our festivals, and you name it. We have a lot that we can offer to the world. What we need to do is just to let the world know that we have these things, and the world will be hungry for it. They will come for it. They will be yearning for it, and then we can sell it. We can rebrand Oku, as you have often said, Ruth. We can make Oku that place that we want it to be through these intangible cultural heritage potentials. That is exactly that. That's why, to me, it is very important for us to have been talking about it today. Thank you very much.
Okay. Begs the question. Since you said there are things that we cannot touch, aspects of our culture that you cannot touch, and you cannot put in a museum, it brings to mind the language, the Oku language, for example. Is this an example of an intangible cultural heritage potential?
Yeah. Yes, that's a very wonderful one. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I want to talk about language here, saying that it is a very powerful form of intangible cultural assets that the Oku person has got. It is our vehicle of communication. That is the means through which we communicate with our people, with other people. In fact, that is we keep everything. Everything is passed on. You know that with intangible cultural heritage potential, it has to be moved from one generation to the other. For example, if we were telling stories to our children and we want the children to tell the stories to their children tomorrow, they will better appreciate it when it is told in the mother tongue, when it is told in Oku language. There are several other things. Even with our understanding, our knowledge is embedded in our language. That is exactly that. The technology of Oku is embedded in Oku language. It is very important and let me tell you something. There are many other people uh, who have been interested in the Oku language, and sad to say that some of us who are even from Oku are taking the issue of Oku language lying down. I would say that Oku language, thanks to Seal and to Kaptal, you see that the Bible, the New Testament Bible, has been translated. That is from Matthew to Revelation, from Matthew to Revelation has been translated, and then the book of Ruth and some other books too in the Old Testament have been translated to Oku language. I tell you, Ruth, that when you read this Bible in the Oku language, you feel that actually the Bible is talking to you direct, not even that you some other person is preaching to you. No, when you read the Oku Bible, you don't need a preacher. You don't need some other person, because what you hear is direct to you, actually.
Interesting. I'll dwell a little on the language subject because it's something I'm passionate about. And I think it's going to be important to the audience of Oku and beyond, because every morning we try to post the Bible verse of the day in the Oku language. But we've had some challenges. Some people say it's hard to read, and it also begs the question, if people can come from out of Oku, from without, and translate the Bible into our language, I think it's because they might have seen an importance. So, how can we valorize this now that we are talking of intangible cultural heritage potentials? How can we face this challenge of being unable to read our own language, even though we are learned and we are educated in other languages, but we find it hard to read our own language?
Let me tell you something, Ruth. Let me borrow from French. The French people say that c'est en forgeant qu'on devient forgeron, which means that it is only when you do something that you become better at doing it. You cannot just sit down and then you think that one day how to read and write Oku will just enter your head and you just start reading and writing it without having learned it. You need to continue practicing. If it is hard, yes, there's nothing that is you just receive on a platter of gold. You need to practice. You need to read. You need to be constant at it. Then you find that it is coming. Imagine, yeah, I can read and write Oku, but I took maybe a year or so just to have to learn certain words, how to pronounce them, even certain letters and sounds in Oku language. I had to take a very long time in order to learn. And this thing finally came. So if I did, then another person can do. We cannot say that it is hard. Hard how? Even when you find that the children in class one, when they enter, the English language is also hard. So we can let us just say we bring down ourselves and then say we are going to do this thing with determination, we find it going. Actually, there is nothing hard about it. It will always be hard, but when we are harder, it will become softer. That is how I see it. Let everybody who is from Oku, whether in which part of the world, make it a point of duty to learn how to read this and write this language. It is your language. How important is it going to be? If I wrote a letter to you in Oku language and you had to send a reply back to me in Oku language, it's going to be wonderful. Even when the two of us are talking just in Oku language, it makes it better. There are some other people who look at us and are envious and say, wow, these people, you can communicate so well in your language. That is us. It makes us who we are. And if you want to be somebody from Oku, you have to learn all the aspects of the the four language skills, that is reading, writing, or listening, speaking, reading and writing of Oku language. Don't just capitalize on the two. So that is how I think it is supposed.
Okay, it looks like we've carved out language to be our case study for today, and that's fine. Another question still coming from the language aspect, and I think in the future we'll be bringing an Oku language expert to talk more. Is there not a fear that the Oku language is going to be extinct soon? I see Oku children both at home and abroad not speaking the Oku language, not being taught the Oku language. Do you think in the next few years this language would cease to exist? Is it going to survive?
Uh, if I were permitted to say, God forbid, I tell you, it will not. Because there are many more people, even though there are some who are not interested, many more are picking interest in learning the language. So to me, it is not going to be extinct. Yes, many people are coming into it and many people want to learn. I equally doff my cap to Dom Eric, who is doing so wonderfully back there in Yaoundé, to some other people like Mr. Bongjo Daniel, who is a language, an Oku language expert or a language expert here in Bamenda, working with Kamtal and many others who are into this language business. With them, I know that the sustainability of the language is assured. So, Ruth, I tell you, don't be afraid that the Oku language will be extinct. It will be there, and nothing is going to take it away. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Back to the intangible cultural heritage potentials of Oku, a global question, because in the coming episodes we are going to take one by one and dwell on them. What challenges are there in valorizing these cultural heritage potentials, these intangible cultural heritage potentials? What challenges do we face as a people in Oku and everywhere?
The challenges are glaring, can say staring us at us in the face. With the presence of the gospel, many Oku people have misinterpreted our God-given potentials to be seen. And like that, when you say, okay, for example, the Oku person believes in life after death, they say, okay, that is atheism, or that is paganic, and so on. And like that, they tend to discourage us from our belief system, which makes us unique. These are challenges, and we have an uphill task to cause them to know that this is just what makes us different from others. We cannot all in the whole wide world believe have just a way, one line of thought, which is not true. God didn't make it like that. So if we have our own, it is okay. Now we also have challenges of having these issues practiced. For example, many people are dying and going with what they know. They are not sharing knowledge. They are not transmitting, because intangible as well as tangible cultural heritage have to be transmitted from one generation to the other. Now, if there is a generation that comes with it and then breaks up and then dies with it and then does not give it over to the next generation, then it is going to be a problem. I tell you, Rod, that even right now, we I've been telling stories here. I have to force it to go back to what my grandmother used to tell me, so that I should tell the world that this is what my mother left for me and I have to leave it for the world. If I stayed with it to myself, at the end of the day, the stories of Oku people, the ways of the Oku people will die off and nobody will ever know it. So we have that challenge of passing on what we know, what is ours, to the next generation, which is what is the big problem. Those are some challenges that I will surely identify for now.
Okay, why do you think the passing down from one generation to another is delayed or slowed down? I could be wrong.
Why?
Why do you think people are hesitant to pass down our traditions, our customs, our intangible cultural heritage potentials to the younger generations?
Okay. Today, you know that the with the presence of evolution, the young people of today have their interest in other things, what the world offers. For example, right now, if you want to sit a child down to tell the child a story which carries a moral lesson, the child prefers to be in front of a TV set, learning foreign cultures, or go on his or her phone, maybe browsing or some other thing. Then the child will tell you that your stories are old-fashioned. We want to go with the trends of the time. That is exactly what is killing us too. Now, some parents who would have loved even to transmit these beliefs or intangible cultural assets to the young generation are tired. They just feel discouraged that the young people won't even be there to listen. Some others is I don't know how to put it. The people are afraid that if I give it out, maybe without payment, so I will not gain. The people are they are egocentric. Yes, they don't want to just let it go. No, but we should know that we have a philosophy of, as Oku people, communal existence, community existence, which means that once the community is healthy, we are all healthy. So if we will keep hold back what we know, because we don't want to give it to B's child or to C's child, then we are having it wrong already. That is how I see it.
Thank you, Mr. Mbuntum. Considering who you are and where you work, you get to interact with other cultures of the northwest region of Cameroon. What have you experienced? What have you seen in these cultures that can benefit or that can be of benefit to us as Oku people?
Okay, thank you very much. I work here in Mezam, which constitute Tuba, Nkwen, Mankon, Mendankwe, and even Santa and Bafut, as well as Bali. I tell you that these people are people who cooperate a lot. Unfortunately for them, they are in a cosmopolitan area with so many other cultures interfering in what they have. So theirs is, I can say, endemic, because it's almost disappearing. So, but here they are very passionate. They want to bring it back as much as they can. If they are already suffering because theirs is already going, we, Oku people who still have our own intact, we should preserve it jealously. Yeah, because imagine that you have your teeth and you say, okay, my teeth are funny, and then you see a man with no teeth at all. You want to preserve your own jealously because you would not like your mouth to look like the mouth of the other person you just saw without teeth. So, what I have seen here is that the people are very enthusiastic. They want to have their culture back with them. And then also, They are tolerant. The people here, when it comes to culture, they are tolerant. They tolerant how? They want to let Christianity and the others and culture move side by side. They want it their own way. They want it that while culture is surviving, Christianity continues to survive without one killing the other. So if this could be the idea in Oku, if Oku people could bring this in amongst them, then we are bound to survive and will go places.
Once
Thank you.
again, listeners, you're watching Oku and Beyond, and we are talking about valorizing cultural heritage potentials in Oku. We are focused on intangible cultural heritage potentials. Today, we have been talking about the intangible cultural heritage potentials of Oku, the things we can valorize as a people to make us do better, to make us not only use these things, but also benefit from them. In the subsequent editions, we are going to take one by one, and our expert here is going to tell us how we can benefit or what we can do as a people to enjoy these our beloved resources. So, Belopko, I know you all have been wondering why we are only speaking English, but we also have people who are non-Oku viewers. We have Oku people who do not understand the Oku language, who are passionate and still want to learn. So we have to speak in a language that everyone can understand so that the message goes through. So, what chakta ko babe?
Bele, making sa chak to kuo, lo kuo es chak to na, makata se fono kuo, walun bawes, walun kabak, kaka cheating ya, lu chu ye san ton se asawun. Suge aya lun tok na kajung, chak to gel kuo la jim, ye kien a kuo, se kata yel na sunduchin na gai una fakay na fakay luna fakay fatana lun lukain frequenten na makwata kamalu makela fakay fatana adio na sangang na a chuotlen du chin na so wana bol wa lunu puo machakte masuge laimi lunu kasungnin kuma former puo fi na forno puo a jisa shidi chiande no wasan na ji ya sin kwatin ten na ji ya sin kinam no wasana ten ni ya sin chin kawe masuge amno vin lo no blu shi na sa ya sin na singang be ka walolu na mai man ji ya chi na ten mai ji ya sa chak tigel ten mai ji ya wa yanin ka fa kinga ka ya ga fa chi ya wa ji ko kan kana chuo chuo no wa kele ge kin le ka chuo te ge ya lu wa mai man wa ka ga be wi wo ko fana ga sin lu su kele ge amno wa sin lab jim so ka ji na amno jim wa sin kin kan lu na ko ka man su min fan lu na fo fi yin na sin ba sa en ga ble wel lu na lu video lu ka jasa na da wa biembe ali na so se ge ya lu de ko fana li so wen din de ko ba sa be fa na ji mo na ji ke su ge ge lu ko lu na ji ya ba ten ten me ko ti ge ben lo su nun lo kum la chu la mo ko mo as no an ru lu su as lu su lan ku mo blam na ha jung su go blam ko lu tawo wesen na wolof jim wolof ko jim kana lu na gai mom sa su nun lo mo ko ka sa nya ka ba ka lo le ka ku chi na ka len ka le ke e we ga sa su nun nya ta ka fa su wa jang ke le ya lu su ne ka no sa gam ta na ka tum ma su ge blam ko lu na nyang man na vi sa wala fin vi sa no le we lu ga sin ya jang ga sa ka lo gu yim gai mo ko kana bo ke na va ke kok to gu so e fi vi sa ka fi fan a kuo yen won kuo ko hangwi lan na nge se le bo kin wim ga matin ina ka sa kwata ga sa kelum ga matin be ka e ji ya ba sa ne ji ya kan yasan atin ne asin ya ke ge lovely was swing ge wa ba su tele wan an to ka fa na ka chuo te ge ka no ko lu ka kuo yen ga ba jo wa ye tong nan to ka lu ji ya sin kwatin tin lu ji ya sin yan nam no wasan tin so ga sin lu sa chi kan ka jung bele ma ke ge bli si chia di na makwata mal suma sungnan dukan do na mane sungnan do na sabtam di na kan no hama sung su gwi chen luga san bam Ndi yasan bamla kilele bekal wen ka fa chuting yasan bele ko na hajung
Bele babin
bele
buntum.
babin buntum
Sama
sama
mafangano
ma
wa
fangano
wa fisa.
wa fisa
Fangano.
fangano
Lasu bai be
lasu ba be
electe.
electe igan kane
Correct.
correct
Olukena
olukena
wolukuo.
wolukuo
Yeah, Bella Oku, thank you all for staying tuned to Oku and Beyond. We hope that this session was very educational to you as it was to me. Even as I asked these questions, these are things that I ponder on personally, and I hope that I spoke your mind. And if in listening you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop them. Babim Buntum has made himself available to answer our questions, to educate us, to help us better value who we are. And that is how we rebrand ourselves. We have to repackage ourselves as a people and make ourselves marketable. So, as a recap, we are talking about the intangible cultural heritage potentials of Oku and how we can conserve them and make them marketable. We do not go into a lot of detail today, but in our subsequent episodes, we will take one at a time. And even as we started with language today, we'll dig deep.
Mr.
Thank you to Mr.
Mbuntum Daniel
Daniel
for making himself
for making
available.
himself
We say
available.
thank
We
you
say
to
thank you
each
to
and
each
every
and
one of
every
you
one of you
for staying
for
tuned.
staying tuned.
We'll take note of
We'll
all
take
of your
note of all of your
questions
questions
and we'll make sure
and
they're
we'll make sure
answered.
they're answered.
Let's put our
Let's
hands
put our hands
together
together,
and continue to rebrand
continue
Oku
to rebrand Oku,
and continue to
and continue
educate
to
ourselves,
educate ourselves,
continue to
continue
entertain
to
ourselves,
entertain ourselves,
and have fun
and have
and grow
fun
as
and
a
grow
people.
as a people.
That said, I
That
don't know
said,
if
I
you have
don't
a
know if you
final
have a
word,
final word,
Mr. Mbuntum.
Mr. Mbuntum. Not really. Just to say, machak tiga na kajung. Gan chi kajung. Ejami jung kumukuo. Shigan. Bele.
Thank you.
Thank you.